In this film, you can find out all you need to know about how to set up a community freezer. You will hear from different organisations who have different approaches. If you'd like to learn more about their stories, you can click on the individual case study films. You can watch this in conjunction with our downloadable how-to toolkit. The Community Freezer started life with funding from the Emergency Food Response, from the government funding, and then we have gone on to secure some grant funding for it, but we've also had to income generate ourselves to support the operation. And we've done this by developing a gourmet frozen food range, which we sell across the city in Bristol. Both are of similar quality. We just package our Pay It Forward meals in a sleeve, which is acceptable for retail. And on the side, we have a little blurb and description about what we're doing here in BS13. So when someone buys our meal, they can see that they're helping to support the work we're doing here.
We basically apply to anything we can. We've tapped local councillors. Hubbub are really good about highlighting relevant grants, which has been really helpful. We were recently awarded their investment grant, which is to cover running costs, which is a huge one for us. Like, just the electricity bills of keeping the fridges and freezers running, to help cover costs of getting everybody's food hygiene covered as well, so we don't have to ask people to pay out of pocket.
We have a local housing association called Monmouthshire Housing Association, and we got £3,000 from them to set up. Then Monmouthshire County Council supported us as well because we had some of the money. We were able to buy a freezer and a fridge. We bought the equipment and some of the ingredients to get us started.
We had already been running with our emergency food response, but we had to improve on that in order to set up a community freezer. A key bit of equipment that we invested in quite early on was a blast chiller, and this rapidly lowers the temperature of foods. It's so important for food safety and sign-off from local authority EHOs.
It operates differently to a fridge. It removes all the hot air. There's three functions. There's a chill function, then there's a hard chill, and then there's the freeze. There's a 90-minute cycle or 240-minute cycle. 240-minute cycle will have everything absolutely down to -20.
Depending on the scale of your operation, it will depend on whether you need a blast chiller or not.
The village centre as a whole had already had our food safety rating sorted with the local council. We got in touch with Hubbub, who were offering grants for people to start up. So they were able to provide us with the fridge. We also asked for a freezer as the meals production kind of grew. Hubbub was a big part of that actually in helping us get started because we're a charity. I think the fact that they're glass fronted makes it easier for people to see what's available. Yeah, so that was a huge help.
We had a kitchen before, which we used, but not to its advantage really. It's a very small kitchen. We wanted to make sure we got it right. We consulted with people. We wanted to talk with the members of the community, find out what they would like, what kind of meals they would like in it. If they thought it was a good idea as well, there was no point in opening something that people might not use.
We have a paid chef because we have a combination of our Pay It Forward gourmet frozen meal range and our community freezer meals. Your staff team will differ depending on your size of your organisation and who you have working with you already, who you want to recruit. Again, it's down to funding and what works for you. Government guidelines around food safety refer to safer food, better business procedures. Within their pack, you'll find extensive guidance on everything from starting your food operation to food safety management when you're up and running. It looks at a whole host of things, including operating practices, HACCP, packaging and labelling, including allergen guidance, and necessary food hygiene training you'll need for your kitchen team. We really looked at how we would design our menu, and we undertook surveys asking people in the local community what their favourite meals were, what they really love, comfort food, that sort of thing, but with health in mind all along the way. For us, it was really important to cook nutritious meals that were low in sugar and salt. One thing we identified quite early on was that families were eating our meals, and in particular young children, those that were perhaps weaning. So we were really keen to make sure that not only our recipes were family friendly, but that nutrition side was covered for those young tots.
Cottage pie, chili con carne. We always get a lot of bread, so I've made every iteration of bread pudding. We do try to change it up. I'll throw in an occasional Middle Eastern dish. Sejal will make a biryani once in a while to just kind of introduce people to new flavors. We don't make anything too spicy. We're very mindful of, not blowing anyone's heads off.
I am from Eritrea, but this meal is Eritrea and Ethiopia. We call it zigni or dorowat. Chopped onion, garlic, tomato, a special paper called berbere, and chicken and boiled egg. In Eritrea, we are Muslims and Christians living together, so most of the food it should be halal. We are one big family.
It's hard to get the balance right, so the reality of it is that you can source from a number of different food suppliers, and for instance, if that needs to be Lidl and they've got the best price on cauliflower that week, then go for it. We have really good connections with local food producers. We work with a butcher called Origin, who are wonderful. They're just based outside of Bristol, and they pride themselves on rearing high welfare meat. We put this into our community freezer meals as well as our pay it forward meals.
We rely on our fair share partners, Waitrose and Tesco's in Egham. We also have neighbourly partners, Aldi in Staines and Sainsbury's in Staines. We never know how much we're going to get. So that's kind of been like a sense of panic for me for like 3 years. Yeah, it's interesting. Like we also actually have a big charity, a surplus charity partner called Surplus to Supper, based in Sunbury.
When we did community fridge, you didn't know what you were getting, so it would be very hard to say we're going to make a chicken curry or we're going to make. So we needed to be able to buy the ingredients so we could put the labelling. We knew exactly what was going into the food, and we had the ingredients for that. But in order to have the 100 meals in the freezer, or 25 of each different thing, we need to buy those ingredients. But we can also do spur of the moment things from whatever's donated.
For our setup, we didn't have a huge number of gas hobs. We invested in a huge oven, and this allowed us to cook multiple dishes at any one time at scale. You certainly don't need to buy all your kit brand new.
I think second-hand, that was £3,500. It's a great piece of kit. So we can roast, we can use it as a conventional oven, sweat onion sound, there's a steam function on it. It's wired up to the mains water.
I would say we usually start around 10ish, and we can be done by 1 on a good day.
There we are. Once the onions are cooked, I'm going to put them into the slow cooker and then seal the chicken. Transfer that to the slow cooker, and then I'm going to add all the rest of the ingredients. We just find that with slow cooking it's easier, it gives us more time to do other things. I'll put it in the slow cooker, cook that as far as I can stay, and then Isla will take over. And then we portion it up into about 20 portions, and then it's cooled down and ready for the freezer.
The kitchen here has quite a rigid cook cycle, and we replicate recipes on a rotational basis from week to week, month to month. Luke decants each different component of a dish. He then puts it back into the blast chiller, which freezes it super quick, and then they're ready to come out and go into our community freezer here. So our community freezer meals come in a silver foil container and a card top, and this is so it can be easily recycled, but also because people can just tear the sides and put it in a microwavable dish. They can put it in the oven, but when we're looking at fuel poverty and food poverty simultaneously, what we want to do is offer something that people can just put in the microwave. You're going to team up with trading standards as well. There's a trading standard officer who could come out and support you and guide you around your labelling and clear labelling and looking at allergens, all of which are really important.
We have to have a full ingredients label with allergens listed as well as where it was made, when it was made, you know, roughly the shelf life, that kind of thing, and reheating instructions for people as well. Basically attach all the labels to everything so they're ready to go.
People can access the community freezer in a number of ways. They can be referred, say, by their GP or a social worker or a community support worker, or they can self-refer. A lot of people come to us through word of mouth, so say their neighbour has accessed our meals, really enjoyed them and benefited from the service, and so they'll recommend us. What matters to us when people are accessing the community freezer is that it's easy to do and there's no strict eligibility criteria, and if people come through the door and they need food, we're here to support them, and we've got a little nifty community freezer card to help them do that. So they can come along for 12 visits, and this may be each month across a 12-month period. The reason we introduced this was because people's funds are really stretched at the end of the month, but then they might be okay for the period before that. But if people are in a crisis position and they need immediate help for consecutive weeks, say 6 weeks, so they can come, and then they can have a pause if they want and come back. But the beauty of this card is it allows people to access the meals in a way that suits them. When people come to the end of their 12 visits, we can then review it on a case-by-case basis. So if people still need our support, we can offer that. But then often people will recognise that they're okay, they're in a good place now, so they'll pause. And that doesn't mean they can't come back on at a later stage, but it gives another opportunity for another family to come and access our meals.
We have a family of 7, me, my partner and 5 daughters. I work 2 part-time jobs and my life is hectic. My best friend, she referred me to the community freezer because I never heard of it before, and we went in there, signed up, and straight away they gave us meals, and it was a lifesaver.
I get so much amazing feedback. We get families coming in and just say, the kids love your meals, and I say, oh, which one? And they'll just say all of them, which is like just absolutely brilliant. So, you know, it's really lovely to know that I'm making a difference in changing people's eating habits with really nutritious, proper food.
I'm really proud of what we've achieved here, and it's been fascinating to see all the brilliant work of the other organisations and the difference that can be made with a community freezer.